Welcome to Geocache Adventures with me, Shadow Dragon 1, where I discuss geocaching and my adventures with it. If you enjoy the show, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts or on the Geocache Adventures Facebook page. You can also sign up for the Geocache Adventures newsletter, which features upcoming episode information, behind the scenes articles, and other fun articles and information. This interview was recorded using Zoom and may sound different than other podcast audio. Hello, everybody. Amy, Shadow Dragon 1 here, and I'm here with Ron Yust, fellow geocacher and creator of the Geooh Go geocaching app. Thank you so much for joining us, Ron.
I'm glad to be here.
So, if you don't mind me asking to start out, what's your geocaching name?
Spirit Guide.
Spirit Guide. I like it. So, how long have you been geocaching?
Since 2007. I think I started in the spring of 2007.
Okay, so just over 4 years now. Or no,
No,
14 years
no.
now.
No. It's been longer than that.
Math is not my friend today.
No, it's been a long time.
Well, Mike has talked about your stats on the Where Is It Now podcast, and did you pass 11,000, or are you right at just below? Was it 11,000?
We were having a little contest to see who could reach 12,000 first.
12,000.
And I was a little under 12,000, and he was a lot under 12,000. But at the MOGA, I did pass 12,000.
That's impressive. How did you get into geocaching?
I had seen an article or something about it, and it just appealed to me, the idea of going outdoors, something high tech, and looking and thinking about puzzles and things like that. And it appealed to me. So I just jumped in. I bought a real cheap GPS. And at the time, things were very manual, I would say. There were no phone apps, things like that. So I got started in the early days.
Well, speaking of fun apps, you have created Geooh Go. What made you decide to create your own geocaching app?
Well, I do some app development on the side, and early on, there was nothing really out there. So I thought, well, I'll just create an app for me to use. Before the app days, there was always people just print out paper or put it on a GPS. So I started working on my own app for my benefit, and it just kept growing from there. At one point, I realized that Groundspeak was focusing more on the new geocaches, or more a simple use of geocaching app. And so I kept updating mine and made it available on Google Play for others to download. So it's been growing from that point.
When did you first develop it?
Around 2007.
Okay.
It's been out there maybe late 2007, 2008 timeframe that I've been using it. So nearly all of those 12,000 caches have been found with the app, various versions of the app on various Android devices.
So at what version did you put it on Google Play? Was it out there early on, or what did that come?
So that early on, and maybe 2008, 2009, I had a free version with a different name. And then when Groundspeak updated their API to the latest one, I rebranded it as Geooh Go and started charging for it.
Okay. And it's, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's $4.99 US on the Google Play app.
Yes, and there's an enhanced version that with a subscription of basically 99 cents per 6 months. And that subscription pays for the service charges I incur for the features that use third-party services.
Okay. Hey everybody, just wanted to pause the interview real quick to insert a little side note here. Just wanted to make sure it was clear that the subscription is for additional advanced features. You do not have to have a subscription. You could just buy the app and not sign up for those additional features. So the subscription is just for additional advanced features, but it is not required to just use the app in general. Just wanted to make sure we made that clear, and now we'll get back to the interview. Your app is, I've looked at the website and it is just, it's almost overwhelming, all the features that you show on there. It does all the standard navigate to the cache, find the caches, but you have so many more features. What is really the biggest difference between your app and the official Groundspeak app? It's kind of a loaded question.
Yeah, no, like I mentioned earlier, that it seems like the Groundspeak app is focusing more on beginners or more simple geocaching activities. And I think that's what they should do. That's kind of the base and foundation for a geocaching app. But Geooh Go is for more advanced geocaching, for geocachers that need more sophisticated features than you can get in the basic app. And yes, it's got really sometimes more features than I can even remember myself, but it keeps growing, either something I want to do or something someone else has wanted to do. And it's just very full featured. Some of the major things I think others really download it for, there's a big one is the county boundaries. It's the only app that tracks your county fines internally and displays the county boundaries and shades them on the map in the app. There is no other app that does the shading and monitoring like that. It's got a, oh, go on.
I'm sorry. It works with Project GC to do the counties. Is that correct?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I've got that wrong.
The Groundspeak doesn't track anything related to counties. And so what Geooh Go does, when you log a find, it looks at the cache's coordinates and then reverse geocodes it to the county and the state and county information about that location.
Okay.
So once the app has the county information, it records it internally and shades the county map. It's independent of any other app like Project GC.
Oh, okay.
You can also download your My Finds Pocket Query and pre-build the database, so you can immediately have all your county finds displayed on the app.
Oh. Okay. That's really useful for those county hounds out there. I know a lot of people are trying to find counties in their states and all the states, really. Some people are after every state.
That seems to be a big thing for some people. It's also got a built-in Where I Go player. I was not happy with the other Android Where I Go app. It just seemed very archaic and old and buggy. So I wrote my own, and it's built into Geooh Go, so you don't have to use a different app. It's all fully integrated and uses some of the more advanced mapping features of Geooh for Where I Go activities.
So you still download the Where I Go cartridge, but then you just load it through Geooh Go instead of having to open another app? Is that how it works?
Correct.
Okay.
Groundspeak updated the API to allow us partners to download directly from the website without having to enter a Where I Go username and password. The other app, Where You Go, you've got to store that inside the app, your credentials, to be able to do a download. But the API partner apps don't have to do that anymore.
Okay.
If they're doing where I goes, let's put it that way. I know the iOS app does that, and Geooh also downloads cartridges directly from Groundspeak servers without having to use a website.
Okay. Do you have anything integrated with Adventure Labs, or is that still separate from Geooh Go?
It's using the latest API where we can see the Adventure Labs on a map, and then selecting it, you can open up the Adventure Lab app. It's
Okay.
what the official does, and it's what the limits, I guess, of the partner apps, API partner apps, are allowed to do is just see them on a map and then open the Adventure Lab app
Okay.
from that.
Okay. So, looking at your website, and I will link to the Geooh Go website in the show notes because it lists all the it's just mind-boggling all the features you have listed there. But some of the ones that stuck out to me were the answer sheet, the trackable scanner, a solution checker, and a nearby notification.
Yes, all of those are pretty slick, and you'll have to remind me which ones you said. But I'll start at the beginning with the answer sheet. That was another one of those things that I built for myself, but it's very valuable for others. In that, when I was doing answers for virtuals or earth caches, uh, yeah, I'd have to write it down on a piece of paper or something. And now Geooh lets you pop up a little sheet, an answer sheet at the bottom of the screen to start recording the answers for virtuals and earth caches. And it will save it. So you can save it with the cache. You can go do another one, come back to it and update the answers or whatever. When you're done, then it will take that answers that's stored internally and send it to the cache owner via the message or email,
Oh,
and pre-populate the message or email with the answers and the name of the cache and the GC code and all that. So it makes it very easy now to record answers and send them off to an owner.
oh, that's nice.
Yes.
So how does the trackable scanner work? Is that track them like based on the image? I literally just hold it in my hand. It's going to scan the code for me. Is that right?
Yes, it's a built-in camera scanner, and it will look at the trackable code and do some character recognition on it and try to pull out the trackable code that will then be used to log that trackable. You can also store trackables so that you can do bulk visits when you see a cache, or you can do a bulk logging. So it takes the place of other apps that do scanning, and there's also a website that Log 'em all or something like that that does a bulk logging of trackables, and Geooh replaces both of those, or
Okay,
you need
so
to
if I
have those.
have 5 trackables in my inventory, I can use Geooh Go to log the visit of all 5 trackables at once to a
Once.
geocache.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and you
That
can have it where it's even there's auto logging of trackable visits when you log a cache log, or a find. So there's it again. For those who do a lot of trackables, it's very valuable that you can scan and do bulk logging or auto logging visits when you're looking at caches and logging them.
that's a time saver.
Yeah, so again, that's all that I keep going back to every time I've done something that I feel like it's too much effort on my part. I'm kind of lazy. So I build a feature into the app, so it saves me time.
So you just get a lot of your feature ideas from going, how can I make my geocaching life easier for myself?
Yes, and then others will offer ideas too on what they would like to
Nice.
see.
So with the trackables, so if somebody is using the Groundspeak app currently and they want to start using the Geooh Go app, Geooh Go won't be able to look at your current trackable inventory, will it? Like you'll have to scan.
No, I mean it knows the API allows
Okay, so it
partner
just
apps access to what's recorded at Groundspeak. So if
okay.
you got a trackable inventory, the scanner is only valuable when you are finding a new trackable out in the field
So
and you want
Geooh
to
Go
scan
can
it.
pretty much see anything that you already have on your Groundspeak app as far as your
Yes,
information goes. Okay.
yes, yes. Because I mean, all the partner apps are pointing to the same Groundspeak servers that have that data.
Okay, so it's just pinging off whatever they're giving you access to basically.
Exactly.
Okay. So what is the solution checker? I'm going to take a wild guess here and say that that is for the mystery puzzle caches.
Yes, there's two levels to that. Puzzle caches usually have some kind of checker in it.
Right.
There are several third-party checkers out there, and Geooh Go will scan the description to see if there is a checker for it, like one of the third-party checkers. And if there is, it creates a button so that you can quickly and more easily open that checker on the website. So
Okay.
you're working on a puzzle and it's got a checker. It's a third party checker. It can open up that website and let you verify the coordinates your answers. Then
Okay.
the second level is that Groundspeak came out with their own checker, and they provided an API so that the partner apps can have access to submit answers without having to use a website.
Oh.
So similar to the answer sheet that we talked about earlier, if the Groundspeak solution checker is embedded in the description, it will, or available via the API, then it will let you open up a little bottom sheet and enter solution coordinates, and then it gives you 10 tries to validate that answer. And you don't have to go to a website. So it's a fully integrated solution checker inside the app. And some of the neat things about this is that you don't even have to open up a description to know what the third-party checker is. Geooh knows where you're going or what checker to use, and even without opening the description, you can submit answers to it by clicking on a task that says open checker. It's the same thing that happens with the virtuals and earth caches. You don't even have to open up the cache either. From a list, an offline list, you can select that cache and open up the answer for it, or the answer sheet for it, or the solution checker for it.
Oh wow.
Geo's scanning the descriptions and knowing which ones are available and what to use to submit answers.
Is it able to do a filter search to filter out ones that have a checker available? Because sometimes they don't have them.
Um, there's I think an attribute that
An attribute.
Groundspeak
Okay.
came up with, and so you can search when you're searching an area or want to pull down and create an offline list, you can use various attributes, and I believe one of the attributes is whether it has an HQ checker. So you could use a combination, pull down puzzles caches that only have the HQ checker built in.
Okay. What is the nearby notification feature?
Another neat little thing that, so if you are out driving around, Geoh monitors your location and then periodically checks the geocaching database for caches nearby. So as you drive along, you may find some or be notified of caches, and right now it shows it as an Android notification. So you see that at the top, and it shows you a little map where it's at, and you can click on it to download it to the app and then navigate to it or get more information about it. So it's a pretty slick thing. It works also that if you've got an Android Wear OS app, it will show the notification on it, so you can see that there's a nearby cache. The next major release of Geoh will introduce something that no one else has ever done before, and that if you've got Android Auto in your car, it will have an app there, and those nearby notifications will show up as a map on Android Auto. Oh. So you can use the display unit inside your car to show where the caches are at, and then select them and automatically drive to them.
Do you have an anticipated date when that you're hoping to have it available?
No, I've got some other things I'm trying to wait on from Google before I release version 12, because there's going to be some of the bigger things in it. Okay. But I'm hoping the next few months I get that out.
Can you tell us anything else that we can hopefully see in version 12?
Nothing yet that I want to talk about. That's kind of the big one. I've got a demo of what the Android Auto looks like on the website.
Okay.
So someone wants to preview that, but I'm trying to further speed up things in the app and improve the maps and things like that. So one of these days I will push that out, the version 12.
And your app comes with support, correct?
Yes. In terms of me, yes, there's a support email and a support form. It all depends on what people want to use. There's also a Facebook group that seems to be popular by some that don't want to use email or the form. They can post something on Facebook.
Okay. So since your app is pinging back to the Groundspeak servers, I'm guessing that it works the same for premium caches. You have to have the premium membership to be able to access the information and log it.
Yes, well, it's good you point out, because Geooh Go it requires premium membership.
Okay.
So it won't run if you have a basic membership. Groundspeak imposes limitations on basic memberships. Given the nature of Geooh Go, it's just no value to a basic membership. They'll never come close to using any of the features with Go. So I've made it a premium only. And so once you're a premium only, then yes, you'll see premium caches and be able to log them.
Okay. For somebody who's new to your app, what is maybe the most helpful feature for them to start with, in your opinion? I mean, you have a lot of amazing features. Obviously, it's almost a little overwhelming when you first get into the app.
Yeah, the thing that I think new users should realize, it is a completely different user paradigm in that it focuses on offline lists. So the other apps always seem to just focus on a live map. I've got a live map. I'm working from that. But since Geooh Go is for more advanced geocaching, it really uses and encourages the use of offline lists. So you may build various offline lists for different adventures you're going to go on, maybe a list for your DNFs that you want to track, or do a list for each day of a multi-day geocaching outing or trip, or you've created an offline list for a particular city or some area. And that's its forte, and that's what it excels at, and no one else really does or seems to concentrate on, is this idea that you have multiple offline lists to work from. I think once someone gets that understanding, then the whole app becomes much easier to comprehend. If all you want to do is open a live map, you can do that, but you're not taking advantage of the power of Geoh.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about these offline lists. So I would create a list and it's going to download the information for those caches to my phone, or how exactly is it reading the information that it needs to find the geocaches?
Well, there's several ways to get off to create offline lists. You can do a search, and with the search, you can enter a variety of criteria that will talk to the Groundspeak servers and then download those caches that meet that criteria. And then it saves it as an offline list. You can also download a pocket query or a GPX file or a geo tour. So there's multiple ways of creating an offline list. You could also be looking at a live map and pan the map and zoom in to an area where there's some geocaches, and then from that map, save all of those to an offline list. And then it just makes it easier that how you want to create a list. Sometimes I want to go on a trip, so I will pan the map, look at an area along the highway, save those to an offline list, move the map a little further, save those to an offline list, or select certain ones I see on the map and save that to the offline list. I'm just building things that I want to go after when I'm out caching. So it's just a very powerful way of managing offline lists. You can download the lists in light mode, which is what the default way Groundspeak does its lists, which means that it's fast, but then you have to download more information per cache when you want to get and see more data about that cache.
Okay.
Or you can download full, which would mean that the entire offline list is fully populated with offline data, so you can truly go offline and be in an area where you don't have network connection and run in an airplane mode or completely offline and have all the data downloaded to the app.
Okay, so you can go out in the absolute middle of nowhere, and instead of having to create a file on a handheld GPS, you're going to have all the information right there on your phone if you do it that way.
Exactly. Now, a lot of people don't fully understand that. They think that you need cell service for the GPS satellites. No, you don't. They're two separate networks. And you can have basically any app do that, where it can run totally offline by having downloaded offline lists like you would do to a GPSR device, and offline maps, so you're completely off the network.
Okay. Nice. That's good information to know. So we've covered a variety of different things, but is there anything else about the app that you think people should know about?
I mentioned briefly earlier that there is a Android Wear OS component, so you could push a geocache down onto your watch, and then from the watch, see it on the map, and then open the compass on it and navigate to it from your watch. And the advantage of that is that there's been times I'm out in the woods and I don't want to drop my phone. And so you have maybe a hiking stick in one hand and your phone in the other. You don't want to do that. So you can have your watch uh, used for navigating. And then when you get to the cache, you can pull your phone back out of your pocket and record it or log it then.
So does that work with any Android compatible smartwatch then?
Wear OS. It's not
Wear OS. Okay.
available like on a Samsung Galaxy watch,
Okay.
except that but Samsung just recently announced their future watches will be Wear OS compatible.
Okay.
So
So
the newer Samsung watches will be able to run Geooh Go on it too.
okay. You mentioned a subscription earlier. Can you tell us more about what the subscription is?
So there's a lot of the features inside the Geooh use third-party services, and those third-party services charge me for access. So if I don't have additional and continuing revenue for those services, they will bleed me dry,
Right.
and I won't be making any money. So the subscription helps pay for those additional service charges.
Again, just to be clear, the subscription is optional and you do not have to have the subscription to run Geooh Go. You can run Geooh Go after just the initial purchase. The subscription is optional if you want those additional features beyond the basic Geooh Go app. Okay. So it is a great way for Geooh Go lovers to help support the app so that we can keep it going.
Right, and I think that's true for all apps. It's really confusing to me sometimes that people think apps should be free or think it's difficult to pay uh, a few dollars for an app or even a subscription when you consider how much you spend on gas or food while you're out geocaching. Geocaching apps are the cheapest aspect of geocaching.
It really is.
It's just, I mean, I just kind of said, yeah, someone can easily spend money for a sandwich while they're out that costs several times more than an app would cost, and the app lasts, forever for the most part.
And you said that subscription was 99 cents for 6 months?
Yes.
Wow. So for just under $2 a year, you can support Geooh Go.
Right, and that's why I really think all developers are starting to head towards a subscription model because it's just not sustainable for developers to spend all their time on apps for a one-time payment. And if you look in the past, there's half a dozen Android geocaching apps that have disappeared, and the developers stopped working on them. And I think a lot of that's due to it just wasn't worth it to them anymore.
Right.
So it's for all apps. Support developers. And if you want good quality apps, fund them to have them continue to enhance the app and improve it.
Makes perfect sense. I think a lot of people, they hear, well, if, you know, when you're not on the developer side of it, you just look at and go, I've already spent however much, 5, 6, 7, 8, $10 on an app. Why should I have to pay another subscription on top of it? But when you break it down, explain it like that, well, if you want the app to keep developing, the support has to be there in order to do it. So that makes a lot of sense. And I think that kind of helps people, the way you broke it down, helps shed light and sort of explain it. And for your subscription, 99 cents for 6 months. I mean, like you said, most people are going to spend more on a bottle of water when they're out geocaching or gas to get there.
Right. I mean, you spend the money for membership to Groundspeak. You spend money monthly on your cell phone.
Yeah.
We all have charges that are a monthly. It's just at some point, I think it got stuck in people's heads that apps should be cheap or free, particularly on the Android side. But again, that's not a sustainable model for developers, and you can see how app developers are trying to break that and go more to a subscription model.
I would not be surprised if that was our future in the next few years, of a subscription model like that.
Right.
Warning, this part of the show contains spoilers for the cache that is about to be discussed. So each week we do a cache highlight, or I should say each episode there's a cache highlight. And when I asked you, you mentioned that you did an 8 cache that was very memorable. And I think everybody would love to hear about that because they are very few and far in between these days. Cache code GC1169. Difficulty rating 1, terrain rating 3. The description reads, this cache is a ape project cache, a cache hidden with permission for the Planet of the Apes promotion in 2001. Mountain Bike and Jeremy were the original covert placers of the cache, but Mountain Bike has since taken over complete ownership. When the cache was placed, it contained a torch from the movie. The description in green below is the original description for the cache. Project Ape's success continues as our movement continues to grow beyond what we ever thought possible. For this mission, we are heading back to the northwest, where we are sure to keep our momentum going. Our confidence as a group is growing, but don't let our past success blind us to the constant threat we face. We still hear and receive daily reports of undercover federal agents stalking our team. Remain diligent and stay alert. Remember, anyone you don't know is a possible enemy to our mission. Below is our field agent's report for the mission at hand. This mission is not going to be an easy one. The hike will not be as scenic as some of the other missions, but you will be on a great adventure. You'll need to wear a good pair of waterproof boots or an old pair of sneakers. A flashlight is necessary even if you go during the day. This is a creepy, historical, and very cool spot. Be ready for a unique hike, but beware because in parts you'll be sitting ducks for the authorities, so move fast and keep a good eye on your back to make sure you're not tailed. Good luck.
Yes, if for the listeners who don't know, there was a very old geocaching type called an ape cache that was put out for some anniversary of the Planet of the Apes movie series, and I thought there was like only 5 or 6, I don't know, that were placed around the world, and some of them have been have disappeared and archived, so there's very few remaining of those. And there was one, and it's back again, near headquarters in Seattle. And I went to the last Groundspeak block party they had, and as part of that event, they also had an ape event. And the thing about the cache, to reach it, you have to hike or bike through this 2-mile abandoned railroad tunnel through the middle of a mountain. And there's no lights on the inside, so you're going in total darkness. If you've got flashlights with you, you can see maybe the other end of the tunnel and a little light, and you hike through that for 2 miles, and you get on the outside of the outside other end, and it's just a breathtaking view of the mountains, and the one of the original ape caches is there. I found a replica because the original had been lost or stolen, but they did recover it. So now if you go back there, you get to find their very original ape cache that was placed years ago. So it's a strenuous hike to get there. It's very rewarding, thinking this is a very rare geocache to get. And if anyone ever has the opportunity, I would suggest doing that, and just make sure you're able to hike that length or rent a bike or something to go through it.
That definitely bring a flashlight along with you as
Yes, and
well.
and water and food and all that.
Wow. Wow. So you're looking at 4 miles round trip, a beautiful scenic view, and a rare geocache.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
So, okay, so when you get through this tunnel, what are we looking for? Is it, I mean, are you getting all the way over there and then you got to look for a nano, or is it something?
Oh no, it's a huge ammo can,
Okay.
and it's not hidden to, you know, to where you struggle to find it. It's I forgot 1,000 feet or 12,000 or 1,200 feet away from the tunnel opening,
Okay.
and it's easy to find. It's just there's a big stump and rocks, and it's chained down now, so it's not going to go anywhere. So it's, and if you go in an event like that, so I went with as an event, so there are a lot of other event attendees uh, going through the tunnel and meeting on the other end, and so we were all signing the log, taking turns. And so and I kind of recommend that too. So just in case you had any problems, there are others around to help you out, uh, going in or out or finding the cache.
So when you did it as the event, like roughly how many others were there in the tunnel with you looking for this cache?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, there's probably at least 300 or more people that day, not all at the same time, but and as I'm walking, I've got people passing me. Sometimes I'm passing people, but so there's every 50, 100 feet at least, there's two or three others uh, hiking through the tunnel.
It's quite a busy day for that tunnel, I imagine.
Yes, and so that, you know, the other end, people would kind of sit down and visit, and it gets a little bit of it was a little bit of a party atmosphere going in and out.
That's really neat. Uh, Thank you so much for talking with me today and telling us more about your app and sharing your 8 cache experience with us. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and doing that.
Well, I appreciate you having me. It was fun to meet you at Moga, and it's fun to talk about things like this.
It was. So you are one of the very few interviewees that I've actually got to meet in person.
Yeah.
So it was nice to get to meet you there and talk to you a little bit and finally meet Mike, because that was the first time I've met him, even though I have texted with him and talked to him on the phone a few times. So it
Yes.
was nice getting to meet both of you there. And I hope Moga went well for you.
Yes, I hadn't been to Moga for many years, and since the pandemic, I hadn't done any events, so it was a good time for me to finally get back out and go to a mega event.
And you used Geooh Go while you were there, right? Because if
Of
you didn't,
course, of course. Of course, yes. Like I said, the 12,000 caches have been found with different versions of the app, and so you don't need a dedicated GPS. Apps work fine. I've never had problems with the GPS and finding the caches. So it's apps are the way to go. If you just are a bit careful, you don't drop it. The dedicated ones are good if you want something more durable and maybe a longer lasting battery. Um, so it all depends on what you feel more comfortable with.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate this.
You're
I
welcome.
hope you have a great evening.
You too, Amy.
Thank you for listening to Geocache Adventures with me, Shadow Dragon 1. Have you heard of FTF Magazine? It's the magazine for geocachers. It is full of articles and photos, all sent in by geocachers like you. In fact, some of the guests that you've heard on this show have submitted articles to Geocacher Magazine. They have all kinds of neat stuff and publish achievements that are sent in by geocachers. So if you have an achievement you want to celebrate, send it in and they will add it to the magazine. It is really cool. I recommend it. I subscribe to it myself and I love it. Go check it out at ftfgeo.com. That's ftfgeo.com. And let them know Shadow Dragon 1 sent you. Would you like to be a guest on the show? Do you have a topic you'd like to hear more about? Let me know at geocacheadventures.org. Go over to the contact page and you can send me a message there. It has the podcast email that you can email me to, or you can reach out to Shadow Dragon 1 on geocaching.com. Geocacheadventures.org also has a store page now. You can go over there, geocacheadventures.org, and click on the store page in the menu bar and check it out. Got some great stuff over there for you.